Hey, what's happening everybody? John Denton here. Welcome to a new feature you're going to be seeing every single month on the channel. It's the top 5 tracks of the previous month being February. So let's just get straight on with it. Then number 5, and I'm going to put in Shimmy by Aminé. Aminé. Pretty sure it is Aminé. Short little track, just over 2 minutes in length, but as a comeback track for an artist I didn't actually know that much about, really strong. And what I love about this track, quite honestly, is the beat. Those shuffling snares just coming in, giving it a very old school 90s vibe. There's not a huge amount going on lyrically in this song, rather than sort of restating who Aminé is, but I said during my reaction to this song, it's all about presence. He has a star quality, he has a presence on this track and in the video that makes you stand up and take notice. And what it made me do is think, shit man, not only do I need to go and listen to this guy's back catalogue, but I also am very interested in what he has coming out this year. It felt like a statement of intent, this song, while also just sounding really good to listen to. You've got the ODB reference in there as well, so it's going to appease some of the older people out there, like myself, which is a sad thing to say. So yeah, strong entry in number 5. Okay, number 4 this month, and it's going to be Lost in Yesterday by Tame Impala, Kevin Parker. Now, you may catch me out here and go, actually, John, this came out on January the 30th, if you look at the video, and I'll be like, yeah, you're telling the truth. But at the same time, the album came out February 14th, January 30th. I'll allow it. I'm going to allow it this time because it's my video. There are plenty of standout tracks on this record. Borderline's obviously been out for a long time. Posthumous Forgiveness came out a little while before the record. Lost in Yesterday was the most recent single, and it really is a song that manages to tie the whole record together. The more I listen to it, the more I realise that while it's a song that does stand alone and actually has a fantastic video, more on that in a minute, when it's tied into the whole theme of the album being about time, about memories, about nostalgia, particularly on this one, it really does feel like a centerpiece for the record. This is a song, the second you hear it, you know it's a Tame Impala song. You've got that bass line walking throughout the track, driving throughout the track, the drums are driving the track, has gorgeous high register vocals as well, and a nice, actually very catchy chorus that ends up being layered on and layered on and layered on. But lyrically, this is one of the strongest songs on the record, and really does, when tied in with a brilliant video, which is just this thing where it shows, where it sort of spins around this wedding in 4 different stages of what I'm interpreting as kind of nostalgic memory. You've got the original one, which is kind of rough and there's all sorts of bad stuff going on, and then it goes round again and everything's glossier and nicer and again and all the different things. It's brilliantly made video. Highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. But it's a song about sort of both embracing and the dangers of nostalgia, and you know, I'm sure, I mean, Kevin Parker's music manages to sound nostalgic almost the second you hear it, but the way it works beautifully is that the more you listen to it, it just gets more and more into your bloodstream, into your DNA. I had so many comments on my Tame Impala full album reaction of people saying they were really disappointed at first, but now after 10 or 12 listens, it's one of their favourite albums of the year, or it's one of their favourite albums ever or something, and that's just how his music works. So it was slightly strange to react to it. But let me just catch some of the lyrics that start this song off. It kicks off with, "When we were living in squalor, wasn't it heaven?" So immediately putting you back into the past there, and that brilliant lyric, eventually terrible memories turn into great ones. That can be interpreted in 2 different ways, about how nostalgia just kind of twist and reform past memories, and you know, we talk about rose tinted glasses and all that sort of stuff, but it can also talk about how bad experiences end up being things that being positive in your life, whether it's doors that are closed and opening other ones, or whether experiences that you learn. But either way, gorgeous track, brilliant message, brilliant lyrics, brilliant album. Okay, number 3, and it's Fubu from Royce da 5'9" from his new album, The Allegory. Now, we could have had Thou Shall, we could have had Overcomer, and in fact a couple more tracks, but I chose Fubu just because it did include Griselda member Conway the Machine, who growls through his first verse at the beginning of this. Not a standout verse from him compared to some of his other stuff, but just kind of exploring the contrast between his previous life and modern life. But on the verse, I mean, he just sounds so good over this really grimy, and when I say grimy, I don't mean UK grime, I just mean actually grimy, filthy beat with this kind of eerie noise going on, and then just the low tempo kind of thud of it, and then Royce just comes in and absolutely eats during a verse that's probably twice as long as Conway's, really flexing lyrically. I mean, there is a slightly strange line in there, and it's something that's repeated throughout the album, about his views on inoculation and immunization. Yeah, a little bit strange on that one, but at the same time, you know, that's definitely not something that he focuses on, rather just flexing his lyrical ability, flexing his maturity, flexing the fact that he is one of the highest quality MCs, rappers out there, and he maintains a certain level. Again, there are many tracks on this album that do stand out. I do think the album is perhaps a little too long, coming in at 22 tracks, and you know, that is my hill to die on at the moment. You'll hear that a lot more from me. But regardless, I don't think there's any disputing Royce's ability, and it's great to hear somebody who, as they get older, who just gets better, more refined, not losing his pen, not losing his touch, not losing his anger, but regaining focus. So I think, yeah, I'll definitely stick with Fubu as one of the best tracks in February, but be under no illusion, there are many strong tracks on this record. Right, now this is a tough one, and I'm probably going to get slated a little bit in the comments, because I know how much of my audience is XO, and I am as well. But number two this month is After Hours by The Weeknd, and it was a close run thing, but it is going to go down as number 2 just by a touch. It's exactly the type of Weeknd track that we're after. Don't get me wrong, enjoyed Heartless a lot, really have grown to love Blinding Lights, but the second, and you can see by my reaction on the reaction video that's out there, the second this one started, where you've got that kind of heartbreaking Abel in the higher register, the real slowed down synthy downbeat instrumentation, and then you know you're in trouble straight away. You know, okay, this is giving serious House of Balloons vibes. Obviously, Angelo on the production, shout out to him as well for putting me on his Instagram story along with the other producer, Dahila, as well. Crazy day for me, but yeah, very much Abel doing what Abel can do so much better than almost anybody else in existence. And a special shout out must go to the Geffelstein, or Geffelstein, however you say it, synth line that comes in and then drives the track. When it drops, you know you're in serious trouble. There's some beautiful heartbreaking lines on there, and it's nice to hear Abel that vulnerable. He's made so many women feel vulnerable throughout his music and probably his life as well, so it's kind of nice to see that twisted, a little bit more maturity coming through from The Weeknd. And in any other month, that would have probably been the number 1 song of the month. Like I say, it's a very close run thing. It's definitely the best thing we've heard from the new album so far, which is dropping in, 2 and a bit weeks? Very exciting times. But number 1 for February, I'm going to have to give it to Joji with Run, a song that really blew me away the first time I heard it. I had heard Dancing in the Dark by Joji before. I never really thought that he was capable of creating music of this scale. I knew he had a nice voice, a nice ear, a nice tone, definitely a real musician from somebody who was a YouTuber before, or still is, or however you want to describe it. But this kind of genuine, like, pop rock anthem almost, tinged in real heartbreak. It's a really beautiful track. The melody is absolutely gorgeous, the structure of it incredible. When it goes up into the higher register, it really does absolutely soar. And that Travel the Country line is sometimes you get a line in a song that just hits in the weird sort of way, and you really felt him when he says that. Like, not many of us travel the country for somebody. That's not really something that most people do anyway. But when he said it like that, it was such an unusual line, but also seemingly such a relevant line for him. It really did hit home. Now, you can take it literally, like he's literally travelling the country, which may well be the case, but of course you can take it figuratively as well. In my mind, what was interesting as well was seeing some of the comments under my reaction. I put that, Joji's kind of reintroducing rock music for a generation that's probably grown up on perhaps more of the kind of cloud rap style of melody, and the influences that have come from that side, which do come from sort of rock and grunge And yeah, now it was interesting to see in my comments that people didn't even realise it would be considered a rock song, kind of a rock ballad. They just loved it as a song, which is ultimately, you know, genre is something that's not necessarily the most interesting thing to talk about, and I love stuff that blends genres anyway, obviously, given the nature of this channel. But it was really interesting to see that, and Joji kind of has brought that back in a way, because he maintains that definite, you know, relevance to a young audience, relevance to a YouTube audience, relevance to a 2020 audience. But fantastic track. If you're beating Future Classic Able track in my top 5 songs in a month, you must be doing something right. But wow, it's actually been a really killer month for music in February. So really enjoy this new format. Let me know what you think of the format. I know I did the roundup video in January, but I think this might work slightly better as a format for little monthly roundups. But you know what's going to be happening on this channel anyway. There's going to be more spoken content just because of the strike situation. There will of course always be reactions. That's definitely something that's not going to stop. But I would also, you know, I like to talk about music as well. Hopefully you guys will just come along with me and support the videos that aren't necessarily full of, you know, fair use, but still full of copyrighted content, because, you know, it does help me. Don't worry, reactions aren't going anywhere, but look out for these videos every single month. Guys, that's it. Let me know down below your thoughts on my top 5. EXO, feel free to get mad at me. I do understand, but I've got to be honest, and don't worry, I still absolutely love After Hours. So that's it from me. I'll catch you on the next one. Please do remember to subscribe. Check the Patreon link as well if you want to support this journey and this channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.